Welcome to another video from the Outdoor Analyst. Today I have a super fun video and I think it's just gonna ruffle some feathers. And the fact is that your survival knife sucks. Yeah, but you heard it here first. Survival knives absolutely suck. And that's just gonna tick off everybody. And if you're still here, fantastic. And because these are some of my favorite knives, but they're actually terrible at surviving. Now, granted, I used to love, I still love Gideon's Tactical. Shout out to him. I think I'd say some of his favorite knives, probably as far as a survival knife would be. I still think it's the Falk Kniven A1 is still on his list. It's definitely on mine. It's one of my favorite stainless steel knives, and probably the Dark Timber Honey Badger. I think he has a love affair with this knife and a good friendship with Peter Kohler. And I gotta admit, it's a fantastic little knife. And then there's always the basic B survival knife for the entire world. And no, this is not a K-bar. This is a Camillus, which is one of the other contracts that was out there back in the day. This may be a late World War II, early Vietnam Camillus fighting knife. And it's just super cool. Still handling it, still loving this knife. Oh, that beautiful leather stacking. And it is just gorgeous over time. Anyway, regular basic B survival knife that everybody thinks is the absolute best. Granted, it is a stick tang, and just these suck. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Even K-Bar's new versions. Granted, I want a Space Force one like nobody's business. But being a stick tang version, they just break all the time. I have sent so many K-Bars back under warranty. It's pretty sad. Whether it was for me for a company I was working with, yeah, they sucked. They still suck, but it is still a cool knife, and it is a classic knife. It worked for what it was. Dear goodness, don't try to do woodwork or ever baton with one. They just snap like a chicken. But why do I say survival knives suck? When I use I have split more wood in my more kindling and firewood for my fireplace with this than probably almost any other knife I own. Or even hatchet or axe, believe it or not. I just split tons with this little thing because it was just handy. It's a 1/4 inch thick convex, saber vex, really, and it splits wood really well. And man, it's super sharp, does feathers really well when I need it. How is this not an amazing survival knife? I'm not even going to go into the benefits of this. Being 1095, this stuff will bend and nearly snap. It's supposedly pretty darn tough. 1095 is tough. It's tougher than probably VG10 as far as probably impact, not lateral testing on this awesome Sanwai version of it. But yeah, it does okay. It's just kind of an old school basic knife. Not great anymore. Nothing special about them. Nothing amazing, really, in any way, shape, or form about them. And then an awesome Dark Timber Honey Badger. I've used this thing a ton. I've split tons of little logs and made tons of feathers out of it. It's crazy ergonomic. It feels great to choke up. I always give Dark Timber crap for fit and finish for stuff like that. For scales not fitting, it's better than their than all the middle stuff. This is a first generation, and their second, third, and fourth generation was atrocious because all their scales were raised. And I think the newest stuff is actually getting back to being okay again. So good on them. Good on them. They're getting better. But why would I say these suck? The fact is that they're supposed to be your jack of all trades, good at everything, great at nothing. And when you're doing that, they really just become kind of sucky knives, essentially. They're not great at anything. This is not great at splitting wood or chopping or doing feather sticks. It really isn't, and it's very limited on the wood that you can do. As far as like a tree that I can chop or would ever spend the time chopping and actually splitting, you're talking about a pretty small width here. This isn't going to be big. It's not going to give you a ton of warmth for wood. Even if you find it on the ground and start working at it, that is not going to do great. This length is really just a hair longer. You can get a slightly longer piece of wood here. Granted, clip point. You are going to smash your baton to shreds. It will take you forever to get through any piece of wood with this. just because of it's geometry. It is what it is. It's going to be a pain in the butt. It's kind of thin. It does not have a massive wedge to it. It does split. I've split wood with versions of this. Not great. Not great. Kind of lighter. I mean, the goal of these is to be fairly light, so you'll keep them in your backpack. This is a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker. This is kind of in between those two, still fairly thick, not a 1/4 inch. I think this is what, 3/16 or something. Maybe a little thicker than that. But yeah, still nice, ergonomic. I can do feathers with them without getting too tired. It's not super comfortable long term because it is a choil. And I can split decent amount of wood, basically the same as the Falk Knieven there. But the reality is that it's not a great splitter. It's not a great chopper, and it's not a great feather sticker. They're just not really that great at anything. They're too in between to be amazing at something. If you really were being honest with yourself and you're like, I need to have one knife to do anything, it's either going to be a smaller knife or it's going to be much bigger. And the truth is, most people that have actually been out in the woods and are taking down little trees and splitting little things, you actually do need a bigger knife. So in that case, something more along the lines of like a Bark River Shiny Mountain Bowie. This is a much heftier knife. I have much more spanning of logs that I can do. I have a much thicker wedge that I can split with, and these things split really well. They also have the ability to chop. I've taken a lot of limbs and little trees with this thing, and it just goes right through them. Now, there's obviously, I'm a proponent of axes and saws when they're actually necessary, but if you just had one tool option, I'm not going to choose this. But then you might say, well, what about feathering? Why? Well, you'll never be able to feather with this. Bull crap. You know what you really do when you're exhausted? You smash this into a log. No, I like this wood, so I'm not going to smash it. And you just draw wood across it. And you get all the feathers that you need. It's easier to do. It's less work. You're not moving a knife up and down. You're moving the wood towards your knife, which makes it 10 times easier. So yes, what is a better version than a honey badger? Yeah, might be your dark timber Bark River Grizzly. This is actually still just a little bit heavier than your honey badger. It is a lot thicker. It splits wood much better. It has a much longer area that you can span bigger logs with. You can just do pretty much everything better with the bigger knife versus a medium knife. And I know that sounds kind of crazy, and everybody's going to be like, yeah, but it's just way too heavy. You never carry it with you. You know, honestly, I'll never carry one of these with me. There's just no way. If I'm going backpacking, I'm taking something much smaller. If I'm going day hiking, I'm still probably going to take something much smaller and lighter because I know I'm not going to be splitting much with that anyway. I might as well just grab a 4-inch knife. Falk Knieven F1 versus your A1 will do everything you need on a day hike. Or if it's your last knife in the world and you know you're going to be in some dangerous situations, take a beast. Take something that'll split. Take something that has the ability to chop. Granted, this has a lot more weight than that. This chops way better. It's a little thicker on the edge, so it doesn't go in as deep, but it definitely has way more power to it. And it chunks out way more. So everything is a trade-off in reality, especially when it comes to knives and going outdoors and long-term hiking or your quote-unquote survival knives. So don't hate on me for saying that these things suck. I love these. I still use them a ton. This still does a lot of firewood. This still goes with me on, believe it or not, a lot of woods walks on the property. It's just a really cool knife to have, and I find it at the fireplace quite a bit too. Cool knife all around. It just gets a lot of work because it has a great edge on it, and I like the sort of pistol grip ergonomics of it. It's just fun. But when there's big tasks to be done, and I know that I have to get stuff done fast, one of these things is going along with me. If I'm going into the woods to clean trails, definitely. For the deer stands, oh man, yeah, it's one of these, no question. It's coming along because I have to take out a little branch or a little tree. I know I can do it in a few minutes with this, where this will just take me forever. I'll be exhausted and kind of annoyed with it. And if I want to make a fire afterwards, it's gonna be much easier with the big knife anyway. So there we go. That's why your survival knife, rather it is the best ones out there, just flat out suck. They're just in the middle. They're not big enough to do anything that you really want to do with them. They're not small enough to be comfortable to do smaller tasks with. So either go down or go up. Don't get caught into the middle with the 6 to 7 inch blade that still weighs enough to be annoying, but not heavy enough to really do real work. I know, they're fun, they're cool, but they're not nearly as useful as a big chopper or a little bushcraft knife. So there's the reality. That's what I know from my years of of work in the woods and on the property. And yeah, that's all I got. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Like, subscribe if you think this was kind of fun or interesting. If you agree with me, if you don't, that's fine too. I don't really care. Welcome to life. Catch me on the next one. Have a good one.